I Should Be Writing Season 19, Episode 5.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there. Welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is the podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I am your host, Mer Lafferty, coming to you in a non-live streamed event. It's just me and my office and my plants. And they're not going to talk much. And if they do, I'm probably going to pay more attention to them than this recording. Sorry. But who am I? I am an author and podcaster, and have been doing the first for 12 years and the second for, God, we're going on 19 years, season 19. This podcast talks about all the things that we put in our own way when we're trying to build a writing career, because the majority of the reasons you can't build a writing career is you. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. To keep myself accountable, I usually talk about what I've been working on, because I'm telling you that you should be writing. I wrote a short story last week in the Assassin and Matchmaker universe, and put it out for Patreon members at the $5 level and above. I'm just still kind of kicking around, playing in this universe with different time travel rules, just like a magic system. But I got it written and sent out. I'm having fun with the world building, and I'm hoping to start on the novella today. My problem is, I need a matchmaker as a character, and I'm trying to learn more about matchmaking, and, well, like everything we think we know about, there's so much more information out there than I expected. In some cases, there's no information. For example, there's a town in Ireland that has a festival every year that's traditionally, it's like music and a singles event. So thousands of single people go there hoping to get a match. And I think matchmakers are involved. I found out that matchmaking is a perfectly viable career choice these days. You can get certified in it, and it seems to cater to either the very rich or the rural poor. So that's fascinating. I don't think the matchmakers that I was researching go for the rural poor. That's more of a traditional or religious role. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this. I'm just saying I tried to look something up online and fell into a major hole. So I ended up, I couldn't find some of the info I was looking for, and in other places I found too much info. I actually considered attending the matchmaker conference happening in New York next month, and I thought, I don't think this, if this sells, it hasn't even sold yet. If this sells, I don't think it's going to be worth me spending hundreds of dollars, probably over $1,000 on plane ticket, hotel room, and the cost of the convention, just to get a little bit more information. But I did find a book online for $14, and I bought that one. So I'm trying not to get bogged down with all that information, because, as you know, one way you can stand in your own way is to get tied down with research. This is usually the part of the show where we talk about good news. I don't think I have any. Oh, I do have a little bit of good news. My book was accepted as final draft. There's still going to be a copy editing round, so I'm going to get it back one more time. But what this means, for those of you who are keeping track of how writing becomes a business, is when she accepts it as a final draft, I get another advance check. So I get paid. That's a happy thing. If you have any good news you want to talk about, you can email me, mightymer@gmail.com. I love talking about your good news. And remember, it sucks. I know it sucks. But if you get a rejection, that is good news, because the rejection is an indicator that you are doing the job of being a writer. It's not a fun part of the job, but it's a job that a lot of us are still doing. Still getting rejected here and there. And what you're doing when you get rejected is you're learning how to take a punch, metaphorically. You're learning more about the market. And you're learning that you can keep going, which I guess is like taking a punch, just different words, but it's good to learn how to fail. It's good to learn how to fail early on. Because while it's hard to get a rejection now, it's really, really hard if you get a whole bunch of success and then a rejection, because you don't know what the hell's going on. So treasure your rejections, because there are people out there who are too scared to submit anything because they're afraid of that rejection you're holding or virtually looking at on your computer in front of you. I talked a little bit about this on a TikTok I did today while I was waiting for my dog to be done at the vet. And that's, despite me proudly saying I didn't want to chicken out in 2023, I of course am doing that. I'm judging myself as not writing something good enough to submit to my agent. I'm judging myself not looking good enough to do a TikTok. And none of this is fishing. I'm just trying to talk about my hang-ups. And so I made myself do a TikTok, and what I talked about was being willing to write weird stuff. I sometimes I feel like I want to be a pioneer, but the thing about the pioneer stuff is it's scary because you don't know. If you fail when you're trying something new, you don't know why you failed. Is it because you tried something new, or is it because the something new was cool but you did something else bad? I mean, I was one of the first sci-fi podcasters, but I was not the first. I watched Scott Sigler and T. Morris do what they did, and then I decided to start podcasting my own fiction. But as I mentioned, I'm working on a time travel assassin matchmaker story. And I thought about, I won't spoil it because I don't know if I'm going to go in this direction, but I thought about adding another aspect of the book, or to the book, another aspect of genre to the book. And I thought, no, that's too weird. As Nancy Holder used to say in my MFA program, that's too many dancing tacos. It was a weird story about her daughter and being at a party with a lot of dressed up, body-suited people, and there was just too many dancing tacos. That just makes it too weird. So I was worried that adding this extra thing makes it too many dancing tacos. And then I was looking at books, and I found a book, not exactly like what I'm planning, but it's a book that has several genre aspects similar to what I was considering doing. And I'm like, oh, someone's already done it. That means I can do it. And someday I will get the guts to say, I'll just try it. I want to write weird stuff. I mean, God, think about it. What is one of the hottest series of the past decade? It's about a robot who loses their control chip or gets rid of their control chip and loves watching TV. That is what Murderbot is about at the core. And it's huge. Martha Wells has won multiple Hugos, has gotten another huge deal from Tor, just announced another novel. I mean, but it's like if I'd thought of that, I would have thought, no, robot that wants to watch TV, that's it's weird and uninteresting, I would have thought. If you have not read the Murderbot book, start with All Systems Red. It's worth it. It's so good. I have weird stuff that I wanted to write for a while, and I think I've talked about it on this show, but I hesitate. I did pitch the idea to Ursula of working on the weird anglerfish story that we keep joking about, and we have been joking about for years. And she said she might be up for it, schedule and deadline allowing. So we might do that. Who knows? What do we have to lose? Pretty much, if Ursula's name's on it or T. Kingfisher's name's on it, it'll probably do okay, and I will totally ride her coattails. You didn't hear that? I didn't say that. I feel like the stuff that really slugs people in the mouth, in a good way, these days, are the weird things. Blaseball was this super nerdy, niche hit. And yes, I still know very few people in real life who enjoy it as much as I do and Numbers Ninja does, but that's okay, because I still care. And then there are the people who make the music about Blaseball, and I love this group. And they make a lot of weird stuff. And I admire people who do that, so why can't I? It's all self-doubt. It's all, if I do something weird, it'll either be too weird or it'll be weird enough, but poorly done. I'm very good at talking myself out of it. I call the inner critic my bully. His name is, sometimes it's Brett, sometimes it's Bart. It's one of those one-syllable B names with a T at the end. And if you have one of those names, I apologize, but it is kind of how I feel about the little potato that sits on my shoulder and flips me off and says that whatever I'm thinking about doing is probably going to suck. And what I try to do on I Should Be Writing is let you know that I feel this way, because I have seven books out now, and I just turned in the 8th. Actually 9, because I did a small press book in 2007. And I've been nominated for the major science fiction awards, most of them. Hugo, Nebula, Philip K. Dick. And I'm still looking at the ideas I have and going, I don't think that's good enough. And I think one of the things that really speaks to me is reminding myself that emotions are not reality. Because you will have people who have a great deal of unearned confidence. They think they're awesome, and they put out books, and they wonder, why won't this sell? Because clearly I'm awesome. They can't even imagine to consider the fact that it's a bad story. They'll blame it on anything else. I had a guy who wrote me and said he did X, Y, and Z. He basically listed everything you're supposed to do as a small or a independent, self-published author. And he wanted to know why the book didn't sell. And I'm like, you did not mention the most important thing, which is the story. And then you've got a lot of us who are just thinking, this thing I have it's uncooked and it's crap. And even if I did write something bad before, that was my peak and I'll never get there again. And it sucks. And a lot of that is just emotion. It's emotion. It's not reality. That's why, even though emotion puts the fire in our work, it should not be the metric by which we measure it. I mean, think about all the things that get you down. You missed medication. You didn't eat. You had a fight with your spouse or your kid or your parents. Something happened in the news. Your car broke down. The weather is terrible. You didn't sleep well. All of these things can mess with your mood. And so if you have a bad day like that and you sit down and you look at your work in progress, it's probably going to look like crap. Yet it might confuse you because you wonder, how stupid was I to think this was good yesterday? So many things affect our emotions, and yet we're still unable to figure out that it's happening. When I'm also the co-editor of Escape Pod magazine, and I have a rule that if I read 3 stories in a row that I really dislike, I just close the submissions program and walk away. Because I know that there's something going on inside me that is coloring my view, and it's not fair to the authors for me to be reading this in a bad mood. So the next time you look at something and you think it's too weird, or it's crap, or you're garbage, or it looked good yesterday but it looks bad today, weird is interesting. Weird breaks molds. And weird teaches you stuff. And if you do make the weird thing and it doesn't work out, I've been trying to live by the Edison quote of, I didn't learn how to make a light bulb, I learned 10,000 ways not to. Emotions are just that. I'm going to wrap that up because I've got a lot to do today, like edit some podcasts for you guys and put them up on the internet. So this show is brought to you in part, in all, actually, by my Patreon supporters. And they get early content, they get exclusive content, they get archived content, they get so much content over there, and that's at the lowest tier. Higher tiers get you free books, free PDFs, free fiction, and we have a thing called the Kick in the Pants Workshop, where people get a writing prompt, and you're supposed to spend 30 minutes or 1,000 words, whichever comes first, and write on that prompt. And it doesn't have to be a complete story. It doesn't have to be good. You just write on the thing, and then we meet the next day and talk about it. And you can read or not. You can do the work or not. We just meet to get together to talk about whether the prompt kicked you in the pants to start writing. And it's a lot of fun. So we offer a lot of cool stuff over at Patreon. Patreon.com/MightyMur. And if you can't support, leave an iTunes review. Leave a review on whatever podcatcher you use. Tell people about my books. All of that. Word of mouth is free and it helps out so much. So if you go to Murverse.com, you can find me and my podcasts and my books, the most recent being Station Eternity, which came out in October. And it's a Murder, She Wrote meets Babylon 5 novel. And you can also find my socials, even though I don't know where I'm going now that I don't like Twitter anymore, but I'm playing with a couple of different ideas. But that's it for me. We'll see you next week, and until then, you should be writing. I Should Be Writing is available to you under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Theme music by John Anelio. Art by Numbers Ninja. Production by Summer Brooks. And hosting by Libsyn. Find all of this information and more at Murverse.com. And remember, we can't do this without you. Thanks for your support.
I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.